What's up, Forney? City Councilman Sean Myers here on the state of Forney. It's been a while since I made a video, but there's been some things going on here in Forney that have given me some things to talk about, so I wanted to update everyone on what's going on. This video is going to be a bit about $45 million in debt and perception. I've been wanting to do a video or maybe a post or something for a long time about politics and perception, because I think probably 90% or more of politics is really about perception. It's about what stories put out to citizens, to voters, how much truth they tell you, how much details they give you, or outright lies, just to change everyone's perception on a certain topic or on certain people, on certain opponents, whatever it may be. And I think we've dealt with a lot of that here in Forney for many years. There's been politicians here that have definitely used the perception card with me. Just a year and a half ago, I was just a citizen sitting in the crowd at all the city council meetings, watching all the half-truths, and the lies and stuff that, people tried to tell us and tried to change our minds and change our perception on certain topics so that they could get things done the way that they wanted them. And even though it wasn't necessarily good for the city, good for the citizens, but good for them. So, and that's why I ran. That's a lot of the reason why I ran. Not only the politicians that were doing it, but the fake news reporters that were reporting it. So the $45 million in debt that you've seen kind of going around social media on fake news sites and even coming out of the mouths of a certain politician in town is the latest topic that's kind of been, sort of a hot topic here in Forney. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Back in April, City Council hired a TIF administrator. The TIF administrator, he's going to go through, and he's in the process of doing that now. We've had a couple of TIF meetings where he's been involved now. So he's going through the TIF agreement and looking at how things are laid out, how things are set up, and we're going to go through and we're going to talk to the developer over there that we have the TIF set up with and the TERS, go through and talk about some concerns, rearrange some things, negotiate some different things that not only we want, but the developer wants. And a lot of that's going on right now. There's several things that are going on. One of those being the 12% interest rate and things like that. One of those that is not part of any negotiations or any anything that's going to be changing is the $45 million in debt. I've been telling you all along, even though fake news and a certain politician has been telling you that the city is in debt now at $45 million because of this developer, that's false. It's always been false. It's never been a truth. It's always been in the TIF agreement that all funds pay those debts. All the funds that pay those debts come from property values that come from within the TERS, which is the tax development or tax increment redevelopment zone. That's the area within the gateway over there. So any property values that come from developing that area, that's what goes towards paying off that debt. No other city taxes, no other bonds that the city would set up or anything like that goes towards paying off that debt. Only property values that come from the development of the gateway go towards paying off that debt. Now, I didn't want you to just hear that from me, because clearly you're getting it from fake news that that's false. You're getting it from a politician in town that that's false. You're getting from me that that's true. But I wanted to wait and let this play out, and just so I can give you some proof, because I like to give people proof. Back in April, we hired a TIF administrator, like I just said. By the way, I'm going to post a link to this video when I post this here on Facebook on the state of Forney. I'm going to post a link to these minutes. It was voted 6 to 1 nay, and the one was absent, which was Robbie Powers. She was absent from that meeting. The rest of the 6 of us voted to hire this TIF administrator to go through and look at this TIF agreement and do all of what I already described. So keep in mind that everyone voted for him. So there's no question on maybe if one person didn't and the rest of us did. Nothing like that. There's nothing political going on. On June 28th, there was a TIF meeting. The guy that we hired was Mr. Hawes. He was there at the TIF meeting, and he addressed some of the things that he's found with the TIF agreement. He addressed some of the claims that have been made about the TIF agreement and about the developer and stuff like that. And the main one that I'm going to focus on, I'm also going to post a link to the minutes from that TIF board meeting so that you can read the whole thing. You can see there's some concerns about the agreement. We're going to go through the TIF board and the TIF administrator and city council is going to go through, and the developer, we're going to go through and rearrange some things, make some changes, negotiate some changes and stuff like that. So that's going to be ongoing. We'll see what happens with that. But the main thing I want to focus on these minutes is under agenda items. If you go to these minutes, under agenda items, there's 2 sentences right off the bat, just kind of describes that he was there to speak and all that good stuff. And then there's a paragraph right under that. The very last sentence says, and I quote, "He also emphasized the current outstanding $45 million in developer site improvements is not the city of Forney's debt." As I've been telling you all along, it was not the city of Forney debt. But for some reason, a politician in town wants to change your perception. And his fake news reporter wants to change your perception and everyone's perception of whose debt that actually is. Listen, I don't know why. I don't know what the end game is. All I know is there is an agenda there. I don't know what the agenda is. You can only leave it up to guess, and I'm not going to do that. So it doesn't matter. What matters is what's right. And what's correct is the $45 million in debt over there is not the city's debt. It is the debt in the TIF area. And that's going to be paid for by all of the development that developer is going to create. All of the onus is on the developer, not the city. So I just wanted to kind of make a video, explain that to you, give you 2 links to look at so that you can see what's true and what's false. And then if ever anyone says again to you, if a politician says it, fake news site says it, or even if it's just a random citizen that's read some of this stuff and just assume this stuff is true, you can correct them and let them know. You can have the comfort and letting everyone know that we are not in debt to $45 million of debt because of this development. The other thing I wanted to talk about more is the perception angle. Like I said, this card's been played a lot here in Forney with politicians and fake news site. I don't know why. It doesn't matter. What matters is reading through and sifting through the garbage and figuring out what's true. And that's why I ran. You know, part of that was watching that stuff from the city council meetings, but also reading it over and over again in fake news sites and stuff like that. So that's what drove me to run. Not only did I want to combat that type of stuff, I also wanted to help Forney move forward. I was excited about what was coming, not only in and around Forney, but especially in the Gateway. There's so much potential over there, but for some reason, fake news and politicians want to badmouth this development all the time, and there's just no reason to do it. I think you're going to see here pretty soon, things are moving along. We're starting to hit our stride in Forney here and in the Gateway. So there's really no reason to do that. For some reason, like I said, they want to change your perception. And I'm just going to kind of go over a few things since just before I ran for council and what's gone on since then. Ways that politicians and fake news sites have tried to sway your perception. I mean, one of the politicians in office now wants to, when he ran for his seat, he ran on the basis of there was corruption at City Hall. When they got to City Hall, they forced this investigation on City Hall, and then of course when that investigation was over, it was found by the Texas AG that there was no wrongdoing. Again, that's to change your perception about what's going on at City Hall. It helps with elections, right? If you believe that there's nothing but corruption going on, and they can make you believe that there's nothing but corruption going on, maybe they'll gain some votes. That's the best reason for choosing that method when you're running for office, right? Just claim corruption, claim everything's going wrong, claim they're raising your tax rate, and all that good stuff. Next was setting up, meetings at coffee shops with a handful of citizens, eager to hear what's going on with Forney. They don't really know what's going on, but they were looking for some information about how we're going to move forward and things like that. But when you use that venue to trash city council and to claim that anything bad or even make up things that are bad and claim that it's all city council's fault and stuff like that, that's to change your perception. That's to bring you to that person's side and make you not believe all the others that are trying to do some good in this town. Another instance has been when he claimed a certain neighborhood in Forney didn't have fire flow. So if someone's house would have caught on fire, they wouldn't have been able to put it out because there's not enough water flow in that neighborhood. Again, it was proven that was false by the city engineer. Another claim was that the water company that was feeding that neighborhood was going broke. That's since been proven wrong. Board members have said we're financially sound. There's nothing going on there. That's a completely false claim. Another one was when Canes was trying to open up over there at the intersection that it's opening now. Politicians claimed that there was 40 plus wrecks at that intersection. Well, when you dive into it and you start looking at the facts, only 3 of them were actually at that particular intersection. The rest of them were across the highway. So again, trying to change perception, trying to pull everyone on your side to get something done that you clearly have an agenda for. When you make a claim that there was an illegal executive session, but you're the one that runs that executive session, but you blame it all on city council, and then you sort of try and push that into trying to have recall elections to pull certain city council members out, probably because you're still mad that they won against your candidates. Again, that's to change perception. Trying to pull that corruption card again. They're all corrupt. We need to get them out of here so we can get my guys in here and I can have quorum and I can get done whatever I tell them they need to do, right? It's all perception. How about this one? This is a good one too. When we had the joint meeting, it was us, EDC, Parks, Public Works, all the different boards and stuff, and we had the developer, the Gateway developer, the Hunts there and stuff. We talked about dedicating the parkland over there, which was I could go on. Anyway, we had this joint meeting, and from that meeting, the next day, it was said that City Council voted to approve 5,000 apartments being built in the Gateway. The vote never even happened. There wasn't a vote at all. There wasn't even an agenda item to vote on any apartments. The whole thing was ridiculous, right? It's to change perception. It's to make everyone think that City Council's doing the wrong thing, that they're trying to bring tons of apartments to Forney, increase traffic, increase the load in our ISD. It's all about perception, right? That's what politicians do. On top of that was that there was even a plan to build 5,000 apartments. That was taken from an ordinance that would have allowed up to 5,000 units. Those 5,000 units weren't necessarily apartments. Now, could they have been apartments? Sure. Was there a plan to do that? Never. Never. But it was said to change perception. And then, of course, this last one here was the $45 million in debt, which I've already talked about. Again, the city is not in debt, $45 million. It has nothing to do with us. It's all about the property taxes that will be generated from the Gateway within the Gateway area. We do not need to issue bonds to pay them back. I will say there is an option to issue bonds to pay them back. However, that would only be if the property values that were being generated in the Gateway were enough to pay off or to pay that yearly payment of the bond. And that would only be as a good, as a sort of a way to benefit, or for the city to help the developer get paid back quicker. It wouldn't be any money out of our pocket. It's just to help get them paid back quicker. So we could send them money, even though we're getting paid by that TIF from the property value taxes to pay that payment. So that's how all this works. I just want to do a little video and kind of inform everyone. I'm going to put this on YouTube. I can refer to this anytime. If I ever see this, I'm going to post a link. You can post a link, share it, tell everyone. And again, if you see another politician say that we're in debt $45 million because of this development, ask them why they're lying. If you see it in fake news referred to that we're in debt $45 million, ask them why they're lying. You'll probably be deleted from the site, but ask. That's what I've always done, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. Good to do another video. I hope everyone's having a good day. That's the state of Forney.